In this video, we're going to cover ER diagrams. And normally through this course, we've been looking at the database through SQL Pro. Clicking on the different tables, clicking on structure, and seeing what the fields are, what the types are, what the length, and then a bunch of other information in here. And we can go through and do that for pretty much every table that we have. But we previously mentioned something called an ER diagram. If you go to the file we downloaded in week 1, there was a PDF there called Example Database. And if you open that up, you may have to zoom in just a bit. This was a visual representation of the database. It had the same tables, users table, had the same columns, user ID, first name, last name, you can verify that, users table, user ID, first name, last name. It had the same types here, represented there. And it also had these lines going between the tables. And those were called foreign keys or relationships. We also designated primary keys by the little yellow key next to a field. So here it was user ID, here user email ID, down here occupation ID. And this diagram has every table in the database, whether we go from, let's see, item category, DVD, vehicle, user phone, except since creating this, we've added new tables. We've added tables like the cable raw data, the genre table. We've added in the station table and the listing table. So there are a few tables missing. So what we're going to do in this video is actually recreate this diagram with all of the new tables in there. So you can go ahead and close that out and bring up SQL Workbench. SQL Workbench is a tool, just like SQL Pro, that talks to the database. Again, every time we talk to the database with the tool, the database doesn't care whether it's a program written in C or PHP or Python or any other language, or it's an application like this. It just talks SQL. It authenticates. Remember when we set this up, we typed in an IP address, a port, a username, and password. So we authenticated that we are a valid user, and we logged in and talked to the database. So currently, I have both of these open. This tool has been great so far to work with SQL and change the database structure, to look at the content, to play with table info, and to actually go in and perhaps type data in here or whatever we wanted to change. However, this tool does not create ER diagrams. So we have to use other tools. And in your career, you're going to find out over time the tools will change, but the database is majority the same. The database may have some new features in there, but the rules are never going to change. So go ahead and bring up SQL Workbench and go ahead and connect and select your database down here. Again, yours will have a name. Once you're connected, what I need you to do is go up top here, go to Database, and click on Reverse Engineer. It's kind of a little misleading. We're not really reverse engineering the database, but I guess kind of we are. We're going to take all of these tables and all the data for those tables and pull them out and put them in a visual representation. So hit Reverse Engineer, and we are going to go through a whole lot of confirmations. It's going to go ahead and give you a choice of where to connect, and you should have in here localhost 8889 if that's your port. Remember, the username and password are both root by default for MAMP. So we're not messing with an SSL or any of the advanced stuff. Just hit continue, and it will connect to the database and get a list of databases, and we have to hit continue yet again. Go ahead and select your database. Again, yours is example and the year and month of whatever it is. Again, I have lots of other databases here for different purposes, but go ahead and just select your database and hit continue. It goes through, it retrieves a bunch of information, and then wants you to confirm yet again. All right, leave these checked. We're going to also import any table objects or triggers and place them all on the diagram. We haven't talked about triggers. We'll get to that in the future. It says it's complete. Hit continue. And we imported 28 tables. Okay, let's hit close. And now I'm going to make this much larger to take up the full screen. And what you'll see here is it doesn't really do a good order of where to place stuff. You can do what I'm doing, which is grab the tables and move them around. But let's go find that new table we created. Cable, raw data, and then genre. Hey, look, here's station. And it's pretty cool that you can click it and see how the line highlights. And I know I can follow this line. You can even mouse over line, and we can follow this up to here. Hey, there's that genre table. I'm just going to put these guys together because I think that's going to be visually appeasing. There we go. So if you recall, when we were normalizing in one of the lessons last week, we created a listing table, a station table, and a genre table. Well, here they are. Here are the primary keys as shown. And also over here are the foreign keys, the relationships between those tables. Here is something that may be helpful to some of you. If you're thinking about joining two tables together and you don't know what to join them on, if you mouse over, well, I want to join listing and I want to join it to genre, just mouse over the key. Look at how it highlights genre ID in both tables. So you would know that those are the common columns between those tables, and that's how you're going to join. Again, the same information is displayed over in SQL Pro, but this does it in a visual format. Now, I know for probably for a lab this week, you are going to have to create a diagram like this after creating a few more tables, and then you're going to have to print it to a PDF. So one of the things you can do is go over up here, and you can hit export as PNG. And that'll go ahead and take this entire set of tables, and it'll go ahead and export it as an image. So you can submit that as part of your assignment. Again, that's going with the labs. There is no submission for this video. But just to reiterate, normally when I have a new client, a new project, I start with the database, the back end, and I let my designers start on their front end, and we both kind of work on stuff and meet in the middle. So by the time they come to me and say, this is what the client wants it to look like, whether it's a mobile, a web app, or whatever app it is, I'm already looking at the back end saying, well, these are the tables we need to support their data. And it doesn't matter what the app is or what the website is. It could be a Facebook type app. It could be a sales type app. It could be Yelp. It could be anything you're thinking. It could be an app to track your workout status. Whatever it is, you're going to have a database in the background, and it's going to communicate data to some language and then bring it up to some type of display, which is hopefully visually pleasing to your client. So, and that is all I have on ER diagrams.